So there's nothing better than standing up, hitting driver like this, and seeing a nice, accurate tee shot, decent distance down the hole, and then following it with a lovely crisp iron shot. Again, good accuracy, lovely ball and then turf strike. And when you can drive the ball like that and then hit your irons, hybrids and fairway woods like that second shot, golf becomes a whole lot more enjoyable. And you know what? A whole lot easier. Now, those two shots there, though, the way I delivered the golf club into the golf ball was very different. And I think most golfers either are very good off the floor or very good from the tee, but you don't see many golfers that are good with both. But at the end of today's lesson, you're going to know what you need to do to hit your shots from the floor, like the irons, the hybrids and the fairway woods, well, and the subtle change to the swing to hit the driver like you've just seen me do. Right, so the biggest difference in delivery for when the ball's on the floor as opposed to on the tee is the way the club needs to be moving into the golf ball. So whenever the golf ball's on the floor, the club needs to be traveling down through the shot. And ideally, when you're hitting driver, the club wants to be moving up through the shot. Now, I know what you're thinking. Surely I have to make two completely different golf swings if that's the case. Not really, and I don't want you to be thinking about hitting down or hitting up. We're going to show you how controlling the low point of your golf swing with this little movement will create the club traveling down or traveling up, depending on which club you're using. So I'm going to start with the irons. Now, I've got 7-iron in my hand, so for me, the ball position is fairly central in the golf swing, pretty much opposite my sternum. So what we want to see in the golf swing, whenever the ball's on the floor, is that the lowest point of our swing is target side of the golf ball or after the golf ball. Now, the way we're going to do that is we're going to feel that as we swing back, a little bit of weight moves into our trail leg, but as we get into the top, we want to feel that we move the pressure and our weight into our lead foot, and we're going to allow the upper body to go a little bit with it. Now what that's going to do is it's going to get the club moving steeper and more down, get that low point ahead. But if we just do that on its own, we're really going to hit the ground hard and we're going to be in a lot of trouble. So once we get onto that left side, the little feeling that I want you to have is I want you to feel that that left hip and that left shoulder start working up and away. Now even though they're working up and away, see the club still traveling down, and that low point will be after the golf ball. I think a lot of golfers, they don't get onto that left side to begin with, and as a result, when they're on that back foot, we're going to catch the ground behind, the club's going to travel up, and we're going to hit the ball. So we're going to feel, from the start of the top of the backswing, we move left, and then get the hip and the lead shoulder going behind and up a little bit more. So from there, again, felt solid, just drawing a little bit more than I would like. But the attack angle on TrackMan there, minus 3.8. So that means the club's traveled down 3.8 degrees. The low point was 2.9 inches after the golf ball. And that's what helped create that nice ball and then turf contact. So again, have a little practice swing. As we get into the top, we're going to shift left. As we get the hands round about waist height, we're going to get the shoulder and the lead hip moving back and up. That's going to keep the low point ahead and give us that nice strike. That one was even better than the previous one. So we can see low point 4.2 inches ahead. Clubs travel down 4.8 degrees, a little baby draw, and 172 carry. Now, I would say for most of you watching, straight away, any of the shots on the floor, that's really going to improve your ball striking. Now, obviously, I'm doing that with 7-iron. Now, all that happens, obviously, as the clubs get longer in irons, hybrids, and fairway woods, is the golf ball just moves slightly further forward in the stance. But as long as I'm controlling that low point after the ball, if my low point was 4 inches ahead there, as the ball moves slightly further forward with those clubs, the low point's still after, the club's traveling down less, slightly shallower, we're not sweeping the ball away, but slightly shallower and still getting that ball and then ground contact. Now, the big difference though is driver. And this is definitely where I see a lot of club golfers struggle. So they might grasp that concept of getting the weight onto that left side in the downswing, but when they do it with driver, they'll swing back, everything shifts across, low point goes ahead, they pop it off the top of the club, up in the air, and I'm not going to demonstrate that one because my new Stealth, quite like the fact that there's no marks on top, but what is that difference? So a lot of golfers say, right, I know I need to hit up, I know the low point needs to be behind, but what they'll end up doing is setting up, shifting the weight, and then sitting back onto that right foot, and just cold topping it. If they strike it, it could be a hook, it could be a slice, and they're just in all kinds of trouble. So we need to remember with driver, once we get towards the top of the backswing, we still need to get that weight moving onto that front leg. But the difference is, because with driver, that ball's so far forward, and at address, we would have a little bit more spine tilt. As we start to shift into that lead foot, the spine tilt remains. That's going to keep that low point behind and get the club traveling up. So we want the lower body movement to be really similar to the shots on the floor, but whereas the upper body would move across to match the lower body, the upper body is now going to stay a little bit more behind, but more because you've set it there at address. So let's set up, ball forward. Going to work on that again onto that left side as the upper body stays behind. Again, shoulder and hip up and out of the way, and let's give it a rip. Oh, I might never need to hit another one. Almost a line ball. We can see the low point 5.7 inches behind the ball. The club's travelled up 4.2 degrees. 261 carry and 283 total. Now, if you're watching this video and you're really enjoying it, obviously I'd love you to hit the subscribe button below and ring the notification bell, because I have noticed that lots of you golfers watching and hopefully commenting and let me know how much you're enjoying it still aren't subscribing. There's more of you doing it, but I'd love to see even more. So like I said, click the button, ring the bell. So let's go again with that driver. So normal on the way back, shift into that lead side, upper body stays back, get the hip and the lead shoulder moving up and behind. A little bit more drawy. So not great if I've aimed at the middle of the fairway, but we can see 7.6 inches behind. Club's travelled up 6 degrees and still a good distance, even though I'd missed the fairway with that one. Right, so let's go one more, and we can see a huge number of similarities between the iron swing and the driver swing. Very much getting that pressure into that lead leg and getting the hip and the shoulder moving out of the way, but it's where the upper body stays behind with driver, but matches up more with the irons, the hybrid and the fairway wood, that's going to give us that different angle of attack into the golf ball. So one last one. Let's see if we can do a long, straight drive. It felt good. Low point 7 inches behind, travelling up 5.2 degrees, 266 carry and 286 total. So guys, hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, like it and share it, comment below and I'll get back to as many people as I can. There's another video just there that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. Hopefully catch up with some of you guys down here soon. Stay in contact.